She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day and she solving another case, cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another day and she solving another case, cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and our opinionators and litigators. So I have to do an update on one of the most cherished women that I have admired for many years. She was actually one of my inspirations and role models who tragically passed away because of self-conclusion. I mean, she took her own life. It was very sad. It truly tore me apart, which was actually, some people don't realize why I initially started doing Facebook, started doing YouTube in the first place. The first very reason why I started doing YouTube stories and sharing stories on YouTube was because of this young lady here. I used to do different little blogs and stuff before Cheslie Kryst passed away. But when she passed away, it truly devastated me back in 2021. If anybody knows me, I don't know if anybody has been following me, but I am a pageant girl. I'm an attorney, and a lot of her life was similar to my own. That's why I became a fan of hers. I'll just tell you, if anybody doesn't know anything about her, I'll give you guys a brief synopsis of who she is, and then I'll go over the update in her family's life. But her name is Cheslie Kryst. She was an American television correspondent, model, and she was a beauty pageant title holder. She was crowned Miss USA in 2019. She was also an attorney and a correspondent for a TV show called Extra from October 2019 until her death. Very tragic death. I looked up to her because back in 2021, I was actually in the process of pursuing my dream of winning Miss Black USA. I was competing for a national competition, and she was one of my inspirations. I would be following her every day on her Instagram and everything like that. I actually started following her back when she won Miss USA in 2019. And 2019 was a very historical year for African-American women in pageantry. Pretty much every national title was held by an African-American woman back in 2019. And she was one of those African-American women that held a title during that time. So it was a very historic year for Black women in pageantry. And so she was one of the women that stood out to me during that year because we had so much in common. It was like literally the same life, like overachiever, into pageantry, attorney, all these other accolades. And so I really became a fan of hers when I found out about her because I was like, wow, she's a lot like me. So she became an inspiration to me because she spoke to my heart that you can be in law, you can practice as an attorney, and you can still do a lot of fun philanthropic things like pageantry, because as an attorney, a lot of times we're taught to be stoic, boring, just, I don't know. It's just like you're not supposed to have any pizzazz to you, basically. But she beat the stereotypes and she showed that you can do other fun things like pageantries and community service and different things like that, which is why I became a huge fan of hers. And when she took her life back in 2021, it completely devastated me. But let's just give a little bit of background on her because I know some people don't know about who she was. She was born April 28th, 1991 in Jackson, Michigan, to an African-American mother and a Polish-American father. She had 4 brothers and a sister. Her mother, April Simpkins, competed in pageantry and was crowned Miss North Carolina, USA when Chris was a child. The family moved from Michigan to Charlotte, North Carolina when Chris was young. And they later settled in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where Chris attended Northwestern High School. The family later moved to Fort Mill, South Carolina, with Chris transferring to Fort Mill High School and graduating in 2009. Both cities are suburbs in Charlotte metropolitan area. After high school, Chris moved to Columbia, South Carolina, and she attended the Honors College at the University of South Carolina. She graduated cum laude from the Darla Moore School of Business with a degree in marketing and human resource management in 2013. She was also a member of Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society, Gamecocks, um, women's track and field team mock trial. And after finishing undergraduate, Chris enrolled in Wake Forest University School of Law in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, graduating with a Juris Doctorate and Master of Business Administration in 2017. She became a licensed practicing attorney in North Carolina, South Carolina, and began working as an attorney in civil litigation. She also worked pro bono, not only for clients who were low-level drug offenders, but also with Brittany K. Barnett, a Buried Alive project to free a client sentenced for a life imprisonment. She was the founder of the fashion blog White Collar Glam, dedicated to helping women dress professionally in white-collar jobs. For pageantry, she entered pageants as a teenager, and her mother was her inspiration. She's very much inspired by her mom, April Simpkins, who was in pageantry. Their family came from a very overachiever type family. Pretty much everybody in the family is achieving something, guys, like literally. So she had a lot of pressure, and society does put a lot of pressure on individuals in America to overachieve, to, have all these accolades. And a lot of times it can lead to depression and a lot of mental health issues in life. And this young lady battled depression and mental health issues throughout her entire life. Let's see. I want to show you guys some pictures of her, some of her family members really quick before we get into the update, because some people do not know about this young lady. So I kind of have to give a background to bring people up to date before we go into the new information. So this is Cheslie Kryst when she won Miss USA. This is her Polish father. So she kind of battled with a lot of interracial insecurities growing up, and even spoke about it during her reign as Miss USA, that she kind of had some identity issues. A lot of interracial children deal with that growing up with the pressures of society and, bullying and so forth. And that is some of the things that she dealt with growing up. I'm trying to see if I can get a closer picture, guys. Let's see if I can. Okay. I've got another picture of her when she was a little younger with her mother, when her mother won a pageant. So this is little Cheslie when she was younger, and this is her dad. He looks like Superman here, his face, guys. And this is when her mom won Miss North Carolina. So when she grew up, she was very much inspired by her mom, and she was always trying to achieve all these different accolades and achievements and, different pressures that society placed upon her. So that's kind of her background. She faced a lot of challenges growing up with, the pressures of trying to achieve. Not only that, but she faced heartbreak. Her boyfriend that she really was truly in love with cheated on her while she was competing for Miss North Carolina. So the young lady was going through it. But anyways, let's go into her pageantry really quick before we delve into the updates. So she first entered pageantry when she was a teenager, and she won Miss Freshman at Northwestern High School in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and later Miss Fort Mill High School in Fort Mill, South Carolina. After taking several years off pageantry, Kryst made 2 attempts to win the Miss North Carolina title within the Miss America organization, placing in the top 10 her first attempts and then first runner-up her second attempt. She won Miss North Carolina USA in 2019. But in 2016, she competed for Miss North Carolina USA 2017, where she was the 4th runner-up to Katie Coble. She returned the following year and reached the top 10 before returning a 3rd time, and she finally won Miss North Carolina USA. You see, she was very determined, and she would never give up until she won. And that's what I loved about her, very focused on her dreams and accomplishing it. But sometimes focusing on dreams is not the route to happiness. You have to find internal happiness from within, not from accolades and external resources and things like relationships and so forth. She was crowned Miss North Carolina Teen USA, guys, in 2018. Can you believe that? So she won a lot of things. So she won Miss North Carolina USA 2019, and she was crowned by Miss North Carolina. Sorry, she didn't win Miss Teen. Sorry, she was crowned by Miss Teen North Carolina USA. Then, as Miss North Carolina USA, she represented North Carolina at the Miss USA 2019 pageant in Nevada, Reno, Nevada, and she won, guys. She won. She was the third woman from North Carolina to win the title, following Cheslie Kryst and Kristen Dalton, who were crowned Miss USA 2005 and Miss USA 2009, respectively. And Cheslie was 28 years old, 4 days old when she won. So she broke the previous record of the oldest woman to be crowned Miss USA. That took a toll on her because she was bullied online for being the oldest Miss USA and for her muscular physique that she had. A lot of people were bullying her, telling her to take her life. And she talked about it on her social media, and it truly, truly devastated her because she already was dealing with mental health issues and actually had previously tried to attempt to take her life back in law school, which led to an 8-day stint in the hospital. And her mom really started to get really close to her because of that. So that really, she already tried to take her life before. So when she won Miss USA, she moved to New York, and it was really hard for her mom to let her go because she was really worried that her daughter wouldn't do too well being by herself in a big state like New York, y'all. When she won, she ended up going to compete for Miss Universe. And her national crown was inspired by the 4 American female icons, Rosie Riveter, Statue of Liberty, Maya Angelou, and Lady Justice. And let's see, she became the longest reigning Miss USA title holder on June 5th, 2020. That was during COVID, guys. So she also was experiencing severe depression during COVID. But imagine a young lady who is facing long-term depression, gets thrust into the limelight, and has to leave her family to be in a big state like New York without her mom, who was her support, because her mom really started to be close near her after she left, because she knew that her daughter had already attempted to take her life before. So her mom was very, very protective over her. So her mom really worried when she left. But during the rest of those years, when she was in New York, she faced a lot of depression behind closed doors. She would have this bubbly smile everywhere. You would see her just bubbly and happy. But when she would go home at night, she would cry herself to sleep. She was so depressed. She felt so alone. Also, she was facing the aging issue and bullying online. And she also ended up quitting law because she was facing microaggressions as a lawyer. So she left the whole legal practice completely because she got tired of the constant bullying from non-Black coworkers. So she was having all these things going against her, and she had turned 30. So she was also experiencing societal pressures to get married and all these different pressures on her. She was also losing friends because of some of her outbursts. People stopped hanging out with her, and she felt like she couldn't get those friendships back. So she was dealing with a lot, guys, behind closed doors. But when she would go to work, she would have this ray of sunshine, of a smile on her face. And so everybody thought everything was okay with her. And she would brighten up the whole room. She just made everybody so happy. She also spoke about her faith, being a woman of God. But even people with faith can deal with depressions and pressures of life and can face different societal pressures. And I think at some point she, started to lean less and less on her faith and started to lean more and more on herself, because she complained years ago during one of her public speaking engagements that she could not hear from God. And I think the fact that she could not hear from God, like people around her that she discussed, it began to make her, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I'm speculating right now, to harbor some form of resentment towards God, because it really, really affected her when she was speaking about it in one of her speaking engagements, that she was devastated that she could not hear from God, didn't understand In my heart, she might have started to feel even rejected by God, to feel like maybe she even wasn't loved by God. But I don't know. Who knows if that's true or not? That is merely speculation on my end. Well, guys, a devastating turn happened in 2021. If anybody didn't know, she tragically took her life in New York by jumping off a building at her residence. She went to one of the higher floors in the morning. She was crying pretty much profusely all night, depressed. That very morning, she messaged her mother and she told her mom, and she knew her mom was at the gym at the time. So she did it at a time that she knew her mom could not stop her this time, because the first time she was saved from her first attempt. But this time she really wanted to leave this earth. So she sent her mom her last final message, and it was really long. And she told her mom that, you know, why she was doing what she's doing. She reassured her mom that it wasn't her fault. And she took that tragic end, jumped off a building, guys. It was very devastating. It broke me to pieces. And that's how I came on, really started doing stories on YouTube, because I came on YouTube to share my perspective because it really was affecting me. And I was so depressed and I didn't know what to do. So I had to go online just to talk about it and get my feelings out. And before you know it, that video went viral, guys. I don't know how. And that's how I became a YouTube blogger, kind of through her story. It inspired me to start sharing stories about self conclusions and people taking their life, and delving into why these things happen and how we can try to prevent them. So let's talk about the updates in this story. So nobody knew this, but what I think is amazing is we don't usually get this benefit from individuals who take their life. But before she died, I don't know if she was planning this for a long time, guys, but she wrote her own book in her own words. And in this book, she goes and shares her story, things that she had been going through. We never get this benefit, guys. A lot of times when people commit, this ultimate demise to themselves, they don't usually share in detail what they're going through, what their life was. So, wow, I was shocked when her mom has released this book that she wrote in her own words before she died, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I definitely pre-ordered it. You can pre-order it on Amazon. The title is called In My Own Words. It's amazing. But let's look at this article that kind of gives us detail, and then we'll look at one video that Cheslie did before she died when she was talking about her book. So Cheslie Kryst's mother is releasing a book her daughter wrote before her death. Can you believe it, guys? I wonder if Cheslie was planning this for many years. I don't know, guys. She said these are her own words. Cheslie's mother is releasing her book, and she's going to release it in April because April is actually Cheslie's birthday month. As I mentioned, her birthday is April 28th, and the book is going to be released April 23rd. So you might want to pre-order, because I believe this book will definitely sell out. She has impacted so many people. So a lot of people are already pre-ordering that book. So if you want it, you definitely need to pre-order it now. The late Miss USA winner turned Emmy-nominated TV correspondent Cheslie Kryst's mother continues to honor her daughter's memory by helping her achieve an unfulfilled goal of hers, becoming an author. The world was shocked and saddened when news broke that Cheslie died by self-conclusion at just 30 years old on January 30th, 2022. Sorry, that happened 2022. By jumping to her death from a high level at the Orion condominiums. Moments before taking her life, she texted her mother, April Simpkins. In her text, she included a personal request to help ensure a book she wrote would get published someday. Wow. So she even, like, this girl, I told you, and her being a lawyer, guys, even up to her very death. Oh, you have to watch the beginning, Cookie, or you can look at some of my old videos, because I go really in detail about Cheslie in my old videos too. But watch the beginning of it, because I explain who she is in the beginning of the life. But Cheslie being an attorney, guys, she's very detailed. She literally planned her death to the T, and even gave requests about what she wanted after her death. Can you believe this? This girl, I'm telling you, I tell you, she was such a woman of precision and paid attention to details up to her death. So her mom said she left me her final wishes in the text message that she sent to me the morning that she passed, that I see to it that her book get published. It has been quite a journey doing that, Simpkins said in an interview with Extra TV. Simpkins has been working hard ever since to fulfill her late daughter's wishes. Her dedication to seeing it through paid off because Kryst will be recognized as a published author on April 23rd, 2024, when her book, By the Time You Read This, The Space Between Cheslie's Smile and Mental Illness, becomes available in stores online via Forefront Books. The first half of the book details Kryst's thoughts, in her own words, on some of her proudest accomplishments. See, that was one of her central reasons, guys, including earning an MBA, law degree, competing in Miss USA in 2019, and becoming a host for Extra. All these external things that really did not lead to happiness. In her second half of the book, readers will learn how Simpkins' life changed the morning of her daughter's passing. In the same interview with Extra, Simpkins said, these are her own words. Cheslie, for most people who saw her on TV or saw her at events, she was smiling, and she was bubbly, and she was happy, and she has her true self. But there was still a lot of pain that she felt. I do feel like the book stands right between the place of what people saw in her smile and her private battle with depression, and that is why we use the phrase, the space between her smile and mental illness. To bring the full circle moment home, Simpkins gave Extra exclusive footage of Kryst's announcement that she completed her book during a family vacation in Israel for the Miss Universe pageant in 2021. It's so wild, like I wrote a book, she said, grinning with happiness. Simpkins also shared her wishes for anyone who picks up her daughter's late book. We don't know what's going on in the lives of many people, but what we can extend is kindness, a listening ear, and a safe place, she said. And I hope that when people read this book, that they promise themselves to seek help when they read it, that they work to create a safe space so that their friends can share, and that they learn how to really listen, because your strong friends are the ones that are suffering the most. And she always was the strong person who was always deflecting and never wanting to share what she was going through, but always there for other people, and was always chasing external accolades, which really didn't bring her happiness. The book proceeds will go towards the Cheslie Kryst Foundation, which was created to help the millions of people who are battling mental illness. And by the time you read this, is available for pre-order. Let's take a look at this video here that she made before she passed away.
Wild, like, it's so wild. Like, I wrote a book.
She could hardly contain her excitement.
I wrote a book. I wrote a book.
In the middle of the night, as Cheslie was in Israel for the Miss Universe pageant,
Here we go. Show starts.
she recorded this video to memorialize one of the biggest moments in her life.
There are words on this page. My words that I wrote, my thoughts and like what happened, and my account of important events in my life.
She wrote about it all: an MBA, a law degree, the Miss USA crown, and her dream job, right here on Extra.
Who says no to Oprah?
I'm so surprised.
You a savage. Thank you.
And for our friend and colleague, seeing her own words in print was another dream come true.
I think I've reread the whole thing tonight. But it's just so wild. It's December 10th.
Only 51 days later, she took her own life.
I think the whole book is supposed to be 40,000 words. So not all of this is going to last, but even whatever doesn't.
Wow, guys, that's so eerie. Only 51 days later, she took her life. It's like she planned this out. It's like she wrote out a whole list of things she wanted to do before she was going to take her life. And one of them was writing this book. It's so eerie.
I'm real proud.
Now her mother, who was with her on that trip, is fulfilling Cheslie's mission.
She left me her final wishes in the text message
that she sent to me the morning that she passed, that I see to it that her book get published.
April Simpkins with us as we reveal the cover. By the time you read this, the space between Cheslie's smile and mental illness, her story in her own words.
These are her own words that are in this book, and that is why we use that phrase, in her own words. Cheslie, for most people who saw her on TV or saw her at events, she was smiling and she was bubbly and she was happy, and that was her true self.
I've got great aim, man.
But there was still a lot of pain that she felt. And I do feel like the book stands right between that place of what people saw in her smile and her private battle with depression. And that is why we use that phrase, the space between her smile and mental illness.
During her life, Chesllie was out there helping others as an advocate.
Hey y'all, I do a lot to make sure that I maintain my mental health.
Now April hopes that her daughter's words in these pages will continue to have an impact.
We don't know what's going on in the lives of many people, but what we can extend is kindness, a listening ear, and a safe space. And I hope that when people read this book, that they promise themselves to seek help when they need it, that they work to create a safe space so that their friends can share, and that they learn how to really listen.
Cheslie's book will be released April 23rd, only a few days after what would have been her 33rd birthday.
The net proceeds from the book are going to go to the Cheslie Kryst Foundation, which we are establishing to help support other organizations out there in local communities that are doing this work. This means everything to me. Fulfilling her final wishes feels like I get to still be in mommy mode with her, and it has been a work of love.
Wow, guys, man, that just hit my heart so much seeing that. Her mom, man, they were best friends. You could see her mom, and that's why it really took a toll on April, because they were literally best friends. They talked every single day, guys. Every single day they spoke. So it really took a toll on her mom, and it was hard for her mom to finish this project because, you know, she had to kind of relive her daughter through the book and preparing. So that's why it took her some time to get it completed. This is what April posted on her Instagram here. She said, Cheslie wrote a manuscript. Y'all know Cheslie was a woman of excellence, has that lawyer aspect, and finished it just before she passed. 51 days, guys, before she took her life. That's why I feel like she foresaw this happening. It was like she wanted to accomplish certain things before she left. It was about a specific period in her life. While she didn't set out to write about her mental illness, it's there, page after page, chapter after chapter. It's like we could hear from her own words the struggle she was going through. The windows she opens to her inner thoughts, emotions, triumphs, challenges is undeniably brave. The title of the book was inspired by both her final text to her mother, to me, and her energy in the video clip she left behind. It was filmed during our final trip together to Israel. And Cheslie had went to Israel to compete for Miss Universe in 2019. Or sorry, I think it was 2019. Was it 2019, guys? Or 2020? I don't know. Let me know. So it was filmed during our final trip together to Israel in the quiet of the night while she was bursting with excitement. And so this was her video about her book.
Even whatever doesn't. I'm real proud. It's so wild. Like, I wrote a book. I have words on a page. There are words on this page. My words that I wrote, my thoughts and like what happened, and my account of important events in my life. I think the whole book is supposed to be 40,000 words. So not all of this is gonna last, but even whatever doesn't, I'm real proud. It's so wild. Like, I wrote a book.
It's just wild that she did this video and everything. It's like she planned it all out to a T. It's very sad. So the book is called By the Time You Read This, The Space Between Cheslie's Smile and Mental Illness. You can pre-order it. You can pre-order it in different ways. And it's cool. Like here is Kaylee Garris. She said, I love you, April. Thank you for sharing her words with us all. This was Miss Teen USA during the time that Cheslie was Miss USA. So this was her sister queen during the time. They were very, very close. They were like best friends. And it's funny how they ironically looked alike. So she was her teen queen during the during Miss Cheslie Kryst's reign. So they became very close. And it's interesting to see they even had the same hair. They literally looked alike. They were like twins. So yeah, definitely go pre-order the book. It's pretty much everywhere. Different people commenting on here. Let's see what else people say. In April, this quote is very, very telling. It says, if you see someone falling behind, walk beside them. If you see someone being ignored, find a way to include them. Always remind people of their worth. One small act could mean the world to them. And April's, the mom said, be kind. If we all focus on one small act, one kind word, or just a smile, we could truly change the world. And ever since Cheslie has passed away, her mom has truly went on a campaign to, really advocate for mental health and kindness, and just to, take time to observe others and be caring of other people. Yeah, and like Ellen says, Ellen is right. Depression does not discriminate. She had to deal with bullying and isolation, like Ellen did mention. So Dylan, you point out, that I don't understand how she can accomplish so much while being depressed. It's called functional depression. A lot of people deal with that every day. We've got especially high achieving individuals, doctors, lawyers, all kinds of people deal with depression who are high achievers because they have so much societal pressures, and they're, always trying to achieve all these things and realizing that these pressures that society places on them and they place upon themselves can lead to depression. But this young lady battled depression many years before she became Miss USA. And actually, like I said, she tried to take her life initially before she ultimately succeeded in doing so. So be kind to individuals. Definitely go get the book. It's going to be life-changing for those people who followed me initially during my first content sharing. When I first started really doing YouTube, it started with this story. So if those individuals know me and you guys are passionate about this story, this is an opportunity to really hear from Cheslie herself. A lot of times we didn't have answers. A lot of people were confused why she did what she did because she appeared so happy online. This book will really help share answers to that. So just be kind, guys. Really, my platform does share a lot about mental health. I kind of took a break from it because it did take a toll on me. Oh my God, guys, it took a toll on me. So I had to take a break from the self-conclusion stories because I was like, it had me out here feeling a kind of way, y'all. Oh, Ellen says here, she says, yes, my childhood best friend the best friend that took his life did so shortly after graduating from Yale. See, it's true. Some kinds of depression also include overachieving. See, Ellen, thank you so much for sharing that. She's right. She is so right. I'm glad she said that because some people don't understand the intricate details and the nuances to depression and people taking their life. It doesn't matter what you achieve in life. Like I said, even those who have the highest achievements are the ones that experience some of the most lows and depressing times in their life. So be kind. I love you guys. Go get the book. Go pre-order it. I pre-ordered mine on Amazon, and I'll look into trying to share a link for you guys in the comments. All right, take care and have a lovely day. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share my channel. Love you. Bye.